Wowee. It is Thursday. In it, friends, it's Thursday. How is everybody today? I had just for some reason have not been sleeping well this entire week, so that's what's going on with me mostly. Hopefully everybody else is doing okay. Do you like the Isopod camera? I think I need to figure out some way to, like, solicit them into being more active or, like, something. I think it's the light. I have a big plant light in there for the plants, obviously. They want adequate light in there, and boy, how do the bugs not love it. I like flick the light on in the mornings, and you can hear, like, just skittering all over the place as they scatter and try to hide. Anyway, hello everyone. What's up? Yes, YouTube chat is quite active today. I bet there's some happy isopods. Actually, interestingly, so when I set up that terrarium, hello Baphomet, hello Gay Fesh. Yes, light means that they're exposed to the bird. Night vision camera must be better. Yes. I actually don't know. I gotta do some experiments with it. I'll figure it out eventually. I should use a better camera, etc. Whatever, who cares? I had therapy today, so good so far. Oh yeah, so I was supposed to have therapy yesterday, but she canceled on me, so I'm like, all right, cool. I'll see you in 2 weeks when we had our other time scheduled. That'll be all right. I'd be tired. I've not slept well either. Air quality is shit here. Anybody else's allergies just absolutely off the rails right now? Because for me, it's the throat. I took some allergy meds earlier because I was very seriously like, should I stream through this? Like it's like it almost felt like the back of my tongue was swollen, you know. But I was like, you know, I'm cutting back on streams this next month. I'm working a seasonal job, so I'm still gonna be like having some income from that. But like I'm gonna be slimming down the schedule, so I want to make sure that I'm here as much as I can be while I can be. You know, the other day I was having very bad period cramps. But today I was like, well, sore throat. Maybe I won't be able to, like, be as active while I'm streaming, but I'm just, like, you know, just gonna try my best. My throat is destroyed, and not for the good reason. Okay, good. Yeah, it's everybody's having allergies right now. So if you can hear my voice, like, there's a little bit of, like, hesitancy and, like, restraint. Like, I can definitely feel something going on in there, you know? If you've got an infrared bug cam set up, I wonder if the bugs will try to crawl toward it because some insects are attracted to infrared light. You know, I have no idea. I haven't really looked into it very far. I just took my regular webcam. It's like a Logitech C920, I think. It's an old one. Yeah, so, and also, like, they're not insects, they're arthropods, so I don't actually know if they are still affected by infrared in that way. But yeah, I'm just using the Logitech camera that I usually use for my webcam. Crustaceans, I don't, yeah, I guess, yeah, they're crustaceans. They're arthropods, isopods, crustaceans, all different words for the guys. Maybe you could prop up the bark against the glass and have the camera record them through that. So yeah, it actually kind of is it kind of like is coming up and it rests in the corner, but they honestly don't chill under there the way you think that they would. It's like they don't want like the open space that's like a cave. They want something that's like has immediate cover, you know? They're weirds. They're weird little guys. The 8 passengers thing. No, I have not heard about this, Super Dr. Hulock. 8 passengers? Oh, I don't know what we're talking about. Anyway, I'm just trying new things with their setup. Oh, you were saying that they seemed happy earlier, and I wanted to point out that, like, I put 2 different species in there after I set it up. For those of you who are just trickling in, we're talking about the camera view that I have at the very beginning of the show, which looks like this. Which I don't have my microphone connected to that scene, so I can't talk at the same time as I'm showing it to you, but those are my isopods in my terrarium. I put 2 different species in there, and one of the 2 species started actively killing each other. Like, there's one species in there that actually rolls up roly-poly style, and there's another species that is flat and, like, runs fast. And the ones that roll up what they do is they will like get on each other's backs and like force each other to stay in a ball, and then they like die somehow that way. Like I guess they just do that until the one gets tired or something. I don't really know what the deal is, but they were actively murdering each other, and so there's just a whole bunch of carcasses in there. Like, I like the new Dragon's Eye. Yes, thank you, Nikki. Yes, we have new channel art, which is always amazing. Much appreciation to EB the Purple for it. For your frame of reference, we also have this cool scene. It's also a thing. But we'll get into that later when we actually start talking about some of our topics for today. Right now, we're going to do our thing where we chill and hang out at the beginning of stream. So if you want to, you can hang out for a while, hit the like button, chill, relax. Maybe another 30 minutes before we actually get to talking about the news items that I have built up for today. And even if you don't want to hang out with us, hit the like button before you go and come back later. How late am I from the beginning? You're only about 10 minutes, Paul. We got started at about 11 minutes ago. Stopping at the hydration station. Yes, I have my water. Like, if my throat is sore, you definitely got to drink lots of water. Isopod genocide? I guess. I don't know why. Like, it was the roly-poly ones killing other roly-poly ones. It wasn't like the flat ones having anything to do with it. It was quite strange. Nazdrovia! Indeed, comrades. Nazdrovia. I want to know how to cheer in a bunch of different languages. That would be cool. Like, cheers. Clinking your glasses together kind of thing. Because, of course, we all know Nazdrovia. The dirty communists that we are. Oh, wait, what are we doing? Racist isopods. Exactly, Mersh. What's up? Okay, so this is... No. Oh, wow. Look at how short the whiskers are. Those are whiskers that have already been chewed off by this bird. And this cat is so patient and just like, no, please do not. Thank. Birds are so assholes. I fucking hate birds. I really do. If isopods don't work out, not wishing anything negative, what would you get next? I mean, I feel like at some point I did have something that I thought would be cool to get as a tiny pet. Oh, hermit crabs. I think a hermit crab would be kind of nice. Like, I don't know anything about what they need, so I would probably need to figure that out, but it just seems like a good low-key pet to have. And like my partner has a vivarium that has a crab in it, a little tiny crab. We've looked at other pets before, but honestly, like, I don't know. You can also just get different isopods if the ones that are in there for some reason absolutely, completely all die for some reason. Hermit crabs need shells. This is true. It gives me an opportunity to buy cool shells and be like, please, sir, would you choose this one? This one looks cool. I don't know why, but the website is really weird for mobile now. Yeah, sorry, y'all. It is like an active thing that the web developer is working on, like getting a mobile version that actually fucking works. It's quite challenging for some reason. Giant African land snails. Listen, if you have pet snails, you have to kill them frequently. Like, they breed, and then you have like hundreds or thousands of them, so you have to regularly cull all of the babies that are being born. Unless you want to become a person who sells snails, you're welcome to do that. Hermit crabs also hibernate. I thought that one had died, and that was what happened as a child. I threw them outside in the winter by mistake. Oh, that's a bummer. Land snails carry brain disease, not safe and not legal in many parts of the U.S. Yeah, slugs and snails, they don't really, I just don't think that they would be good. They can even breed with themselves. I don't know, actually. I just know that they produce a lot of themselves. Hit the like button. since we're at the beginning of stream. We're hanging out, we're chilling, we're vibing. In about 20 minutes, we will switch to doing the news. But until then, vibes, good times. We're trying it out. Live plants and a plastic lizard. I've got live plants in there. I don't know if you can see. There are like, one of them is not in the shot at all, but there are like 3 live plants in here. One of them has very seriously fallen over toward the camera for some reason. Like, I don't know what is wrong with that guy. Didn't we see slug sex in the Discord? Yes. Y'all have been silly in the Discord server, okay? What's up, Silent? So in the Discord, which has been a little bit more active lately, y'all have been in the voice chat more often, and you also have been posting, like, there's a new Not Safe for Work channel where y'all have been posting about, like, snail sex and shit like that. It's weird. Oh, wait, did you elaborate on what the 8 passengers thing was earlier, Super Dr. Hulock? They're a family channel, but the mom was in some weird cult thing and she's been arrested for suspected child abuse. I wonder if H3H3 will cover the 8 passengers thing because they're very harsh on family channels. Yeah, it's like, do y'all remember the Daddy F5 channel back in the day? And I don't want to get too far into it because personally, I even found it very, very triggering. If you were around for it, you might remember it and also recall that it was quite triggering. But like, at the time, I was regularly watching the Philip DeFranco show. Like, pretty much every day when the Philip DeFranco show came out, I was watching it. And there wasn't a trigger warning of any kind when he started covering and showing clips from the Daddy of 5 channel. And it was like, yeah, they would like torment their children and get them to like scream on camera. And like the distress was upsetting, you know? And it was like without warning. And Philip had to apologize. It was a whole thing. So we're having another family channel potentially showing like cult behavior and abuse. Rough. That's rough. But yeah, I probably won't cover it because, listen, y'all, this is part of the lore. I'm a victim of child abuse. And I kind of have to be careful with how I navigate that, you know? And I don't really want to start associating those kind of topics with my stream because then it'll make it really hard for me to do my job. Have you ever had a pet reptile? I have not ever had a pet. My dad had a pet snake at one point, but I personally myself have never had a pet reptile. And who can forget the Duggars and their 18 kids? Feels like giant families have higher occurrences of bad stuff. Yeah, like, it would be interesting to see what's the direction that this goes in. You know, is it like, is it, I guess it's something about whatever ideology leads you to want to have a giant family is also the kind of ideology that makes you think that child abuse is okay. Like, or is it something about having a huge number of children that makes you start being abusive to children? Or I don't really know where the connection is there. Lizards are nice if you get the right kind. Bearded dragons seem pretty cool. I feel like we've talked about it a little bit and I've thought about it a little bit, but like I just don't... I need something low maintenance, you guys. I have a cat and he's like constantly trying to talk to me and get my attention and like wants stuff from me. And like I find it difficult enough already to deal with that level of like, yeah. And it's like, you know, you can tell when they want something. And so sometimes lately, like he'll be flopping around on the floor in my office and I'll be like, oh, hey buddy, what's going on? And I'll try to start petting him. And he's like, After he was going, and like making noises at me. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And like, I go try to give him attention. And he's like, no. Because I know what he wants. He wants me to go open the door to the bedroom so that he can just be on the bed, you know? And I don't want him in there all the time. Like, he already gets to be in there a lot. And it's like, yeah, no, dude, I closed the door on purpose, man. It's like, fucking leave me alone, dude. You know, the constant demands on my attention. So, like, when I'm thinking about expanding the like stuff that I have in this regard of like what am I willing to take care of. All the plants that I have are plants that are still alive because they can tolerate being ignored for long stretches of time in some cases. Like I need to sometimes like get super depressed and not be able to deal with the plants for like a few weeks, you know? Like it needs to happen sometimes. And it's just, yeah, I don't want to have another animal that's like, oh, if you don't interact with the reptile on a regular basis, then it starts to get aggressive or something along those lines. You know, they just need to be able to handle themselves a bit. Cats are perfect for me because as much as they do demand your attention, they are also like pretty much cool with not having you around constantly or like not like needing something constantly. They feed themselves if you put out food. Like you clean their cat box every once in a while. You don't need to like take them outside to go to the bathroom. They don't need to go on walks. They do need some amount of physical exercise. So like getting them a cat tree so that they can jump up and down or like playing with them with like a laser pointer. Sure. Okay. Minimal amount of maintenance. I don't want to add to those responsibilities right this second. Luxander cactus grower. Listen, cactuses are actually pretty much impossible to keep alive if you live in a place where you don't have like a place outside that you can just put plants and get the like full sunlight all the time, you know? They're fucking temperamental. Hello, Orange. Welcome to the website. North American house hippo. True. You would not believe if I showed you how big my cat is. He is a big fatty fat. Cats are dramatic. They want to be wanted, not had. They do want to be wanted. Also, not getting a pet that dies quickly because then you'll just be in a mourning loop. True, Super Dr. Hulock. That's why I'm not interested in having pet mice or rats because I don't want to get emotionally invested and then have them die. That's also one of the reasons why I prefer cats to dogs because dogs don't live as long as cats on average. Obviously, you can get a cat that has like leukemia and dies when it's 2 years old, whatever, okay? But temperamental cacti, you might even say they're prickly. Mama, I hate you. Why are you so much funnier than me? Oh, no. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I wish that I could keep succulents. Someday I would love to have an outdoor space. The other concern is also when you put your cactuses outside that they could get rained on if you're not paying attention and like bringing them in and out, in and out, in and out during the rainy season. They'll drown. Turtles can live a very long time. That's true. I've thought about that. Like, can you get a turtle that stays tiny and also is predominantly a land one? That would be cool. Parrots live forever. See, here's a question. What do you all think about the ethical question of getting an animal that you know for sure is going to live longer than you? Like, I personally prefer the other way around. I think that it's better to get an animal that, like, you're more likely to live longer than it. So that then you don't have, like, a highly attached animal. Exactly, yes, I've heard of parrots getting super depressed when their owners die. Yes. Like, if you are in your adulthood already, and you get a bird that's supposed to last, like, 80 to 100 years, then you have a situation where, like, you are going... Like, you need to make arrangements for that bird. And the person that the bird is going to go with, ideally, should be a person that the bird already knows and likes. You know? I've heard that you're required to write parrots into your will, or maybe any animal that lives for 50 plus years. Not sure. I'm sure that there are... Yeah, it's called the heirloom pet. I'm sure that there are... I would hope at least that there are like some kind of safety regulations in place here for those animals. But, you know, United States at least is kind of terrible about animal wellness, like animal well-being. It's one of the reasons why I started buying a brand of cat food that is made in Canada. Is like, oh, Canada has actual food safety standards for their animal food. So that it feels better. What's up, Shade? Large parrots live 50 plus years. Smaller birds live closer in age to cats. True, like little finches and stuff. I met the most wonderful bird at the pet store last year. It was like, she was like a rosy color, like a pinkish rosy color parrot. And she was big, you know, she was like 8 inches tall. And my God, she wanted to step up so bad. But the pet store has the rules about like, you're not allowed to touch the animals, which I think that they started during like COVID. It's like you used to be able to like interact with and like touch some of the animals. But yeah, you're not allowed to. But she wanted to so bad. She was like, please let me like climb up and touch you. And I just talked to her for like 15 minutes. It was great. It was a nice interaction where I'm like, okay, you have a good personality for a bird, but most of these animals are horrendous and I hate them. Keeping a pet tortoise in the family for 3 generations. True. Do you think dogs and cats or other pets ever ask the same question about us? Like, what's the ethical consideration of me making this human like me when they're gonna outlive me? Yeah, like, is it okay? It's like if I was to become friends with like an elf, you know, and they live like hundreds of years or whatever, and I'm like, is it ethical for me to be friends with this elf if I know that me dying is gonna hurt worse maybe than like me experiencing a dog dying would hurt because of like the conversations that you're able to have with another like sapient being? It's the Chewbacca Han quandary. Oh my God, you guys. Oh no. Oh, I gotta stop to drink water. Scorpions, I'm telling you. 1 scorpion in a terrarium for the Riz. How long do scorpions live? I have literally never considered having a pet scorpion. That sounds terrible. But I'm curious now. I did at one point really seriously consider what it would be like to have an octopus as a pet. But they only live for like 5 years, which is a bummer. Like, and they're really smart. So you have to put a lot of money into making sure that they have like an escape-proof tank, and like that's basically fucking impossible to do because of how intelligent they are. Google says 8 years. It depends on the species. Or are you saying scorpions? Wait, scorpions live for 8 years? Whoa, that's a long time. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Silent is elaborating. Wookiees live for 400 years. So for Chewbacca, Han Solo is like a dog. Arachnids live long. I did not know that. There is a giant fucking spider living in the corner of my office. It's like near one of like my green screen curtain corners. And yeah, he likes to be out in the morning. I see him in the morning, and then I don't really see him for the rest of the day. So, and it's like, I mean, it's like the size of a $50. Yeah, in my office currently. Yeah, currently the office that I'm in right now. Scorpions can live from 3 to 5 years or 10 to 15 years, depending on species. Ooh, what's a cool looking scorpion? We're talking about random bullshit right now, you guys. We'll start talking about the news in a moment, okay? So hit the like button. If you're gonna leave, hit it before you go, okay? TBH, I don't think Chewie or Han expect to die of old age. I think Chewie probably expects that Han might die. But I don't know. I couldn't do that, lol. I'd call someone to take it outside. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure it's not a brown recluse. I'm pretty sure it's a wolf spider, even though I haven't gotten up close to it. Like, I kill brown recluses. If I saw a black widow, I would kill that bitch too. But for the most part, I just like other spiders I leave alone. Jumping spiders especially, I'm like, you're my friend, we're homies. I talk to them, they look at me with their little faces, you know how it is. The bigger and fatter the scorpion, the less serious the sting. Smaller, thinner scorpions are more deadly. Isn't one of the main differences, like you can tell how deadly a scorpion is going to be based on my voice is so shredded already, dude. It's like the pincers. If the pincers are really big, then it's probably like less poisonous. If it has like a smaller pincers, then it's more, I don't know, venomous. I'm quite arachnophobic, but I'm at the point now where I let house spiders be. It's better that they leave the house, though. There's no bugs for them here. Well, you think that. It's like they don't just come inside for no reason. That's part of it for me, too, is like we still have fungus gnats. I've been working out to get shredded, but accidentally shredded its voice. Yeah, I actually haven't been to the gym in like a week and a half because I just started feeling weird last week, and LOL, turns out it was PMS. And I was like, we're in the middle of like a giant summer wave, so maybe I'll just run with this sensation of like, I don't really know if I should go to the gym right now. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with that for a second because maybe that's, something like, I'm like, I'm just gonna like trust that feeling more often than not. Like I've just decided like, maybe this is me avoiding catching COVID this week, without me really knowing that that's why. A thought experiment. If you met someone who lived an extremely long time, hundreds of years, they would most likely already have come to terms with the idea that you and others are transient. They would collect memories of people in their lives. You have no reason to feel bad about dying before them. Yeah, they would enjoy that time with you and remember you for many years, giving you a measure of immortality that way. Right, like that's the question when it comes to other sapient beings of like, is it really even my job to be concerned about whether the elf is going to be sad that I'm going to die prematurely? Or like Kirk and Spock's friendship, and like Spock's like, we're the same age or so, which means you're definitely going to die sooner than me. Like, you have time to like reconcile that and to know. It's like how I can reconcile and know that like, as if I were to get a kitten today, like a kitten that had just weaned off of its mother, like a baby, and I would like, okay, well, I'm gonna love this animal and still know and like be able to contain within myself the eventuality of that animal's death. Like, you don't really want to, and I think that is like a mistake. And like, I honestly, the fact that I started thinking about death more in the last few years, I think made it easier for me to tolerate and to work through the deaths of like, we had 2 of our cats die in the last couple of years. Because like you start to think about it in the moments that you're with them, and you can say like, I'm going to hold this moment particularly dear because I know that there are only so many of them, and like, I'm gonna like let the cat do maybe something it's not supposed to do, like, because I know that it's gonna die at some point and I want it to have good experiences, So it's like, I think that ultimately that sort of enhances your relationship, or it at least like gives you an ability to be prepared for when the transition actually happens. If you have children, you expect to die before them. Yeah. So like that's one of the reasons why death of a child is so impactful to people is because what's up, Avi? Yeah, we're talking about having pets, and that has now led us into a conversation about the acceptance of death. Anyway, but yeah, like you're as a parent, you're not expecting the kid to die before you, so you basically don't. It's called in the therapy that I'm in. It's called cope ahead, when you like imagine the situation beforehand and like try to figure out how you're going to feel or decide what you're going to do, that way when the situation actually occurs, you can already have a plan of action, Did anyone see my last message? I think so. There's a character in Strange New Worlds who is thousands of years old, and she's like, the worst part of living this long, and someone goes, outliving your loved ones, and she's like, no, dumbass, that's what everyone with a heart experiences. No, it's the boredom. Yeah, like, there's only so much you can experience, I guess, in a long, long lifetime. Yes, DBT, Avi, exactly. Cope ahead. My health anxiety has me convinced I'm gone tomorrow at least twice a day. Down from about 10 though, so progress. Yeah, I feel bad for y'all with like the health anxiety and the like thanatophobia, because I don't experience that. I mean, so here's the thing. I also fear death, right? But also, it is not my problem after I die. So that's like the thing that I use to contain my panic attacks when I'm having trouble falling asleep, because sometimes when I'm falling asleep, it feels like I'm gonna die. You know? It's like, I imagine that this is what dying feels like, is like just slipping into unconsciousness. So sometimes I can't fall asleep for that reason. And the way that I trick myself is by going, you know what? If I die in my sleep, that is someone else's problem. I will not be around to be upset about it anymore. So it's like, I guess that's all you can really do. Oh, man. I'm starting DBT soon. That's very exciting, Beth. I'm excited for you. DBT is an excellent form of therapy. Anyway, I have like three kind of news topics for today that I wanted to talk about, and my throat hurts, so maybe we should kind of start doing that soon. Maybe let's do that soon. Oh, God. Did you guys see the video of Mitch McConnell? Maybe we'll start there. Did we ever look at the first video of Mitch McConnell? I don't know. Is this going to be a segment on the channel? This is the question. Or am I just going to talk with you about it extemporaneously? We should call him Glitch McConnell. He do be glitching. I went to school with a woman who had a tattoo on her back that said, "I don't know how I'm going to die, but I know it'll be one hell of a ride." It's true. Was she a motorcyclist? Yeah, he's glitching. It's the Mitch glitch. It's just stroking out. I guess I really only have, like, the two main news items. One of them is going to take a little while to get through. Where? Oh, okay, sure. I don't need all these tabs open. Bitch McConnell, soon to be Ditch McConnell. I mean, the video is kind of prolifically all over social media. What's really funny is that I found out about it on Blue Sky, and then I came over to Twitter to find the video, because I'm just not on Twitter that much, y'all. Like, I just don't want to be there anymore, so... It's like every time I tweet there, I just think to myself, oh, look at what you're building more value for fucking Elon Musk on a platform that, like, very much does not want you to be there. Like, oh, well. Man, building a platform somewhere else, though, is a pain in the ass. I had, like, 4,000 followers on Twitter. And since they suppress links and stuff, it's basically impossible to get that audience to translate elsewhere. Okay. Water is delicious. Degenerative brain disease, stroke, dementia are probably my biggest fears. No lie, I'll be glad if Mitch gets to suffer through that. Horrible person responsible for a lot of harm, and Lord knows their system won't hold him responsible. True. Imagine wanting to be on Twitter. I miss when Twitter was good. I used to enjoy it very much, and I held it quite dear. So let's watch this video. Let me turn this volume down. I don't even know if he's going to be... The audio in this is not great.
What are my thoughts about what? Running for re-election.
He said, the clip starts with him saying, "What are my thoughts about what?" And then the press reiterates their question, "What are your thoughts about running for re-election?"
2026. That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
It's like he's responsive, sort of. It's like hard to watch, but also fuck that dude, like so hard. You know what I mean? Yeah, it becomes turtle. He saw a turtle and became confused. He saw some turtles having sex, and they were like, "Ah!" And he was like, "Wowie, that's what I want to get in on."
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
She's trying to get him to move away from the podium, but he's like gripping it super hard. I can't really hear what that dude said, but he was like, "Hey, do you want to go? Like, are you okay?" And I think that Mitch said, "I'm okay." And then He kind of seems like he's back in the room now.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
She's trying to blame it on him not being able to hear or something. Like, I'm not exactly sure. If you're that feeble, it's best to just retire. Yeah, running in 2026. This is the second time. This is the second time that he's had a stroke. Literally. Like, it's, I'm not, you know, people colloquially will say, like, oh man, I had a stroke there for a second. Like, oh, I forgot what I was saying. But, like, this man genuinely, like, for the second time has had, like, a stroke while doing a public appearance. Like, literally was just asked a question and just, like, stares off blankly into nothingness. I want him to have one of those moments where someone asks him a question and he stalls out so hard he recreates the scene from Scanners. I have not seen Scanners. I'd say I wonder what's going through his head, but I know that the answer is absolutely nothing. He only exists to repeat whatever his lobbyists want him to do. Whatever his bribers want him to do. He truly blue-screened. You've probably seen the scene from Scanners. It's the guy whose head explodes. Okay, I mean, I'll take your word for it. I don't know if I've actually seen it or not. The head blows up. Okay. Yeah, like, I truly, like, I am not sympathetic. And, like, some people... I think that some people are of the opinion that you should always have sympathy for someone's health issues. And, like, no. I think if you're a monster who has, like, advocated against, like, access to healthcare and, like, who has successfully helped prevent passage of more comprehensive public health options in particular, like, of all the things that the man has done, like, preventing liberal or progressive judges, or, like, even just progressive appointed judges from reaching the Supreme Court and, like, putting us in a situation where, speaking of healthcare, like, people don't have the right to an abortion anymore, you know? I happen to live in a state where we've reaffirmed the constitutional right to an abortion here, but I don't have the right to use the public restrooms here without fear of getting the police called on me, kind of regardless of which one I actually use, you know? Like, like, I don't care about this dude. I want every bad thing to happen to him, and it does give me a certain kind of, like, schadenfreude feeling to see him having such a public, like, a public disintegration almost, you know? Like, he's a white man, and so a lot of his, like, ego probably is wrapped up in, like, seeming powerful and, like, being powerful. So as a person who's in this position of, like, oh yeah, I got to stick it to Barack Obama and prevent them from putting in, you know, these liberal justices, like, dude, I really do hope that terrible things happen. I heard people saying he, quote, felt dizzy. Really? A Nazi? Hello? Are you here to yell at me? Why are you all capsing at me? It's almost like the part in Lord of the Rings where King Theoden is under a spell and unable to make decisions. Sort of. His brain just, like, is disintegrating, definitely, you know? I hope Mitch gets 10 years fully in the throes of dementia. It's like, I don't even know if that qualifies as suffering. I don't even know, like, what their experience of the world is like. I guess you just have to, like, make them appear, or, like, see what their appearance is. Do they appear distressed? In which case, then yes. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad, Anansi, that you're excited and happy. That's good. Welcome to the show. Some folks will say, oh, elder abuse, and maybe the folks around him are propping him up, but he held on to power for so long that he wound up here. Yeah, I feel like if you had one stroke, if he came back to later and someone showed him that video, and it was like, hey, Mitch, you kind of had a stroke in front of everybody. Like, because he is cogent sometimes, right? He's got to be cogent sometimes. Or is it something like with, you know, like Bruce Willis, where it was kind of clear that they were having him continue to do some movie roles past the point at which he was losing his ability to speak and stuff, you know? What is it called that Bruce Willis has? Like aphasia or something like that? Yeah, aphasia. I wouldn't wish to mention on my worst enemy. I've watched people die with neurodegenerative diseases, etc. Terrible face, worse than death. Yeah, I mean, clearly, I've talked about it before, etc. Don't need to go into it. COVID causes brain damage and dementia early onset, and that's part of one of the reasons why I'm so terrified of it, because I already have a physical disability. I already can't do shit. My brain is what I have, you know? It's like Tyrion. He's like, you know, my brother has a sword, and I have my mind. Like, that's, you know, when you don't have, like, that physicality to offer, it really becomes, like, a big part of your value that you're like, yeah, but I have, like, my own independent ideas. My grandma went that way, and it was so awful to see. Yeah. It doesn't seem fun. But I don't have to wish it on Mitch McConnell, because he already has it. It's me wishing it on him is not part of the equation here. Oh, I haven't put on colors yet. Maybe we should do colors? Is this... On February 16th, 2023, Willis's family announced that he had been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. Yeah, and so he's got dementia, and then it's like something specific. Aphasia, I guess, has to do with his speech abilities. I'm gonna get some custom tap dancing shoes made from the best tailor in Philly for when Mitch McTurtle kicks off. Symptoms such as, quote, unexpected firing of a loaded gun with a blank cartridge, no injuries occurred, significant reduction in speech/dialogue during filming, and questioning why Willis was on the filming location have been noticed by colleagues, particularly since 2020. Yeah. I'm glad that they're pulling him off of movies now and they're just, like, bringing him home to spend time with family. I don't want him to suffer. I want him to lose his Senate seat. I want him to lose his Senate seat more than I want him to suffer, but I want both of those things. And that's just how it is. Okay, that red is not the color for this background, I don't think. I don't really think that color of blue is either. Blue? Green. Blue? Green. Blue. Blue? Sure. Gren. So yeah, dementia does not really seem like it's a fun time, but I'm okay with Mitch McConnell having it, you know? Yellow for contrast? Really? Anyway, we have 50 people in here. So if you are in here and you're ready to hang out and just talk about the news, hit the like button. And if you want to leave, do it before you leave. I would love to get to 100. That would be cool. But we got a ways to go. And several hours left of stream. If I can keep my voice going. Underwater Lux. Yes. We take W's where we can. Vosh tells us to do that. Same with Xanderhall. Yeah, honestly, I don't think that reveling in someone else's misfortune is, like, inherently a bad thing. Because I think everything depends with context. I think it depends. If someone who has really seriously fucked you over is suffering greatly, then yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna celebrate the fact that I didn't even have to do anything to make them be in that position of, like, they're having a bad time now. Like, no. I'm gonna relish in the whims of chance making bad things happen to bad people. Since there is no justice. Have you watched ContraPoint's video on justice? Good lord. Yeah, I mean, yes. Who knows when that was the last time I watched it. It's been a while. I remember on Chapo, one of them said something like, there is no death identity politics when talking about John McCain, and this feels similar. Like, once you become dead, your identity doesn't become like protected. Yeah, exactly. If there were any such thing as divine justice, dementia hitting Mitch McConnell would be that. Precisely. Let me try this one thing, and then I'll probably stop playing with the lights, because... Yeah, I mean, yellow is not terrible. Yeah, what if yellow and blue, though? Yellow and green? I don't hate that. That's kind of nice. Like 2 different colors? Ooh, red. A little bit more intense of a green. We're playing around with stuff. Let's try that. That's cool. Anyway, sorry. I get distracted by getting my lights all set up. Yeah, no, I understood what you meant. I guess I didn't phrase it very well, Nouvenant. It's, yeah, like, once you become dead, it's not like now you're a dead person and your identity is like, oh, as a dead person, you need to be respected. You can't shit talk the dead in the same way that you can't shit talk, like, black people in general. What if you color-coded the segments, like red alert for terrible news and green alert for good news? Listen, mama, if you can hold that in your brain, you're welcome to remind me. But I don't think that I have the capacity with everything else that I have to think about while stream is running to remember to change the light color for different segments. But I mean, it's like a cool concept. Definitely cool conceptually. So maybe we should go ahead and talk about this news. And actually, this article is from 2015, but it's making the rounds again. So we might as well talk about it. Texas Supreme Court gives law banning gender-affirming care for minors the green light. Oh, gosh. Yeah, are they using the fucking our nation's traditions argument? Because that's getting super old. Man, that's annoying. Supreme Court really screwed us over with Dobbs. Okay, I'm gonna drink more water. We're about to talk about a segment. We're gonna do some news. Water's good for you. If you don't have water, you better get some. And then strap in for the news. Get yourself a little snacky snack. I am gonna make pork chops tonight. And I am excited about that. I think my cat likes you. He's sitting on my lap and staring intently at the screen. I will not make... I was about to make noises specifically for your cat. And then I was like, I don't know whose kink this is. If I start going kitty, kitty, kitty on stream. You know what I mean? Do you guys have squash in America? Like juice? Do we have squash juice in America? No. We have, like, squash, the food. Like, it's a... What is it? A vegetable? Like, they're kind of like pumpkins, right? You existing as everyone's kink. They just don't know it yet. Fansly. Exactly. Save it for the Fansly. Save water, drink vodka. It's like a gourd. Yeah. We have squash. Technically a fruit due to seeds being inside. Yeah. So we do have those. I don't eat them we have zucchinis, you know? Zucchini's a type of squash, right? Squash as in horrible concentrated fruit-flavored sugar water. Oh yeah, we have Kool-Aid. And probably other off-brand forms of Kool-Aid. All right. We're going to talk about this thing real quick. Okay. This kind of story makes the rounds every once in a while, and it's not like anything new that people with disorders of sex development, I think is the modern term for that. Intersex conditions, people who are born with some difference of their sexual development, like somewhere in the process of them growing up and maturing. You know, sometimes it's that the person is born with clearly ambiguous genitals. Other times it's like, oh, you don't find out until they're a teenager that they have complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, and they're never going to develop phenotypically male, even if you supplement testosterone, because their body just won't react to it. And so then you end up with someone who was born XY and then develops phenotypically female, you know? So in those cases, you will occasionally have something like this article from 2015, quite an old article. Genetically male woman gives birth to twins. It's a medical miracle, says a fertility specialist, after an intersex woman who has never menstruated delivers healthy twins. So this is a cisgender intersex woman who has never menstruated delivering healthy twins. Woman who discovered she has 95% male chromosomes has now given birth to twins. This has been declared a medical miracle. She delivered a healthy girl and boy. A specialist said this is akin to a male delivering twins. The 32-year-old mother has the appearance of a woman, but has 95% XY chromosomes. She has never menstruated, but after 12 months of intensive treatment to help develop her, quote, infantile uterus, she was able to conceive. So it's like her uterus itself was underdeveloped. She has one, presumably, but it was very small. So she has gone through probably a specific hormone regimen. Some of the differences are minor enough they never get noticed, yeah? Well, yeah, so, like, she may have had, like, painful sex or something and, like, not had periods. And then, like, on an ultrasound, you might see, okay, well, maybe her vagina is slightly atrophied, or, you know, the uterus is, like, causing pain in some way. And then, like, yeah, you can just, like, not have periods. Menstruation wasn't evolutionarily necessary all this time. True. So, yeah, this says she did not undergo puberty and never menstruated. Does that mean, I don't think that means what these people think it means. She did not undergo puberty. Is she a 32-year-old woman who looks like a child then? I think that she probably went through puberty, I would guess. The hormones probably still happened. But when we investigated further, we found that she had a very small vagina and an infantile uterus. There have only been 5 reported cases of these pregnancies. It's the rarest of rare cases. The doctor says we were happy to pull it off. Even she did not know she had this condition and was flabbergasted when we told her about it. But the husband was very supportive and said to her, no matter what, you will continue to be my wife. The husband's sperm was used to fertilize a donor egg, which was then implanted into the woman's uterus. The babies were then born via cesarean, weighing 4.9 pounds and 5.5 pounds each. So frankly, the babies were very, very small. I guess they wanted to make sure, I don't know, like, did they bring them out when they were supposed to? Or are those, like, premature babies? That's very, very small. Isn't it? Like 4.9, they both weighed right about 5 pounds. That seems really, really tiny. But, you know, we have, like, modern medicine. You can stick them in a, like, incubator. Just stick them in a little oven and let them finish cooking. Maybe she had no endogenous puberty, but you still grow into an adult without puberty. Puberty is specifically a process that involves hormones like testosterone and estrogen. Yeah, when I said she looks like an adult, I guess I also meant, like, does she have boobs? Like, does she look like a female? You know, like, she did not know she had this condition and was flabbergasted when we told her about it. That tells me that she experienced other aspects of female life. Like, unless she had a completely flat chest, like, she never went through puberty, so she didn't have room. They had to be small. Yeah, her uterus was underdeveloped, so they had to do some stuff to it to try to make it bigger. And then, yeah, I guess they probably pulled the babies out when they just determined that it was medically necessary to do that in order to have healthy babies and healthy mom. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, we are covering it because Terfs always say, like, you know, chromosomes define everything. Like, they define what you are. Oh, this still says starting soon. I should probably change that. They're like, yeah, chromosomes define everything. You know, you're a man if you have XY chromosomes. And then we can point to these examples and go like, well, here, you know, like there are lots of people who look outwardly female but have XY chromosomes. And sometimes they're even able to conceive normally. Like we've seen instances of that before. This person was impregnated via like IVF or whatever. But there are people who functionally are completely female, and then because they're doing blood work for some reason are discovered to have XY chromosomes. And there are fertile XY women who give birth to presumably fertile XY daughters. So yeah, exactly. Actually, those are just rare exceptions, which is a status I will not grant to trans people because of reasons. They always make some shit up. That's the thing. You can have these examples and go, look, you're trying to say that every single person is either this or that, and we have demonstrable proof. And then they go, well, if that doesn't count for whatever reason, I've just arbitrarily decided that it doesn't qualify. And you just have to laugh, because at a certain point, it's like they're committed to a bigoted ideology. They're functionally members of a cult, and they're invested in their bigotry, and they won't have their minds changed. You know, unless it's through some heroic act of interpersonal grace from a trans person in their lives. Like, and even then, a lot of the time, that just continues to radicalize people when their children come out as trans, when their family members come out as trans, when their husbands and wives won't support their violent transphobia, you know? Like, they act like they're victims in those narratives, even though they're the ones that are driving dysfunction in other people's lives and in society at large. Yeah, truly. And then they project onto trans people saying that we're a cult. We're recruiting. We're infecting the children. For transphobes, the only thing that's important is that you were assigned at birth. The assignment is what gives you a sex/gender. And if you're intersex, they'll try to fix you. Yeah, they're all okay with corrective surgeries on intersex babies. Every single time they try to pass a law against trans people, there are exceptions that say, unless we decide that we need to normalize you, that's totally okay. That doesn't require your consent. Parents want to make sure their kids are normal, and therefore parents have the right to make these unilateral decisions about their children's bodies. I get backhanded stuff a lot. I don't mind you being trans, but could you keep it to yourself, etc. Like, no, choke on it. Using intersex people to call mulligan on trans people. And I know some intersex activists don't appreciate, or I won't say activists, some intersex individuals don't appreciate that their existence gets brought into this discussion so much. But like, I don't think that they're separable issues. Like the idea that it's okay to forcibly, quote, normalize an intersex baby or an intersex child, you know, performing vaginoplasty on 11-year-old intersex kids and not telling them what you're doing. Like, oh, we're going in for a bladder surgery. And then you like give them a deeper vagina because you've arbitrarily decided that their future husband is going to want to be able to stick it all the way in, you know, like the idea that it's okay to normalize intersex kids is the same line of reasoning that's used to traumatize trans kids. Like they're both in pursuit of upholding this binary. Like so much work goes into upholding that binary. And honestly, it is, I think, a common fear for the parents of trans kids. Probably one of the first thoughts that you have is like, oh shit, this is going to make life so much harder for my kid. And like, I guess that's part of the idea about being intersex is like, first of all, doctors will lie to you straight up and tell you like, your kid's at a greater risk of getting cancer unless you have these healthy body parts removed. So it's like misinformation in that way, but also like a desire for their life to be normal on some level, you know? If you have like a kid with a slightly enlarged clitoris that you think could be like, oh no, it looks too much like a tiny penis. It's like in that weird in-between range. Like, oh, you know, she'll be normal if we just have part of it removed now, right? And then she will not have dysfunction with finding partners later or whatever. But yeah, it's the view that you should be normal and that is like a social acceptance thing that requires your body to conform to that social standard. Sorry, but society makes it impossible. Yeah, exactly. Society makes it impossible to not factor intersex people into discussions about trans identity. Basically, plastic surgery on babies. Exactly. And then, yeah, when you have a trans kid, it is part of your thought process probably that like, well, we need to make absolutely sure that they are persistently trans before we do anything, even the like social transition aspect, not even talking about the medical stuff, but, you know, oh, we don't want to like have our kid come out and change their hair and all this stuff and then find out that they didn't ultimately need to do that or whatever, because then the kid has been put in the crosshairs of potential controversy and like bullying and whatever, that parents misguidedly think that their kids would not have been at risk for before that. But the reality is as many of us know, many of us who were trans kids or queer kids, we can know that like we get a certain kind of attention before we even know what queerness is, you know? Like, you know, we've talked about it before with the Don't Say Gay bill, that like there will be 8-year-old little kids who are being called the F slur on the playground, and they don't even understand their own gayness. Like, they don't know that that's what they are. They just are a little bit weird. Maybe it's a little boy and he's a little bit effeminate, you know, and he's getting called the F slur. And then, so the first thing you learn about being gay, if you are not taught, like, this is normal, mommies and daddies, families are like this, you know, like, some people have 2 mommies, whatever. Like, if you don't introduce it in, like, that normalized way, then the first time gay kids hear about it is when they're being called names, because their differences are already apparent. Whether you give them the structure is the main question as to whether it, like, is something that they can grow up and have a healthy understanding of versus an unhealthy understanding. And that's true for both the kid who's being called the F word and the kid who is calling him that. You know, that like the damage is happening to both of them in that way. It's a certain kind of trauma that's so complex because most of society doesn't even recognize it as a traumatic experience. Yeah. So like if you have a young trans daughter, like she's trying to express to you that she wants to grow out her hair and stuff, and you're worried about like the social ramifications of that, the likely reality is that there already is a separation between her and like the boys that you want her to be fitting in with. Like there probably already is a disconnect there, whether you want for there to be one or not, and whether you want to acknowledge her difference or not. It's not like you wanting her to be normal is going to make her socially integrate in the way that boys are expected to. Yeah, I got called the F slur from middle school onward. Yeah. So like the trauma that trans and intersex people share, in my opinion, is like, it's like a strong shared experience, and their differences are going to be apparent no matter what, you know? Like you can cut off an intersex kid's quote too big clitoris, and then like you can do a forcible vaginoplasty on them, but like they're going to know, and there's going to be a difference. Like their sensation is going to be different. Their partners are going to be able to visually see a difference. They would still be required to dilate just like anyone else who gets a vaginoplasty, like, or they're going to lose depth because in the healing it will shrink up, again, like there's just so many reasons why, as a parent, your urge to protect your kids can go the wrong way. Like, you think that what you're doing is shielding them, but what you needed to do was, like, provide them a place where they can unabashedly be that thing and then learn how to safely navigate how to be that thing in public. It's like when white parents adopt black kids and they don't give them the skills to, like, navigate in a racialized environment. Like, white parents, don't have that experience, and therefore, like, there is a unique trauma in and of itself. And this is where the term transracial originally came from. I don't know if y'all know this, but, like, when you hear transracial, you think of Rachel Dolezal. But the term originated within the adoptee community of, like, people of color who were adopted by white parents. And it's called transracial adoption. Those kids are like, I have a transracial experience because, yeah, white parents don't know what the fuck they're doing with black children. They don't know how to equip them to, like, talk to authority figures. I was on Reddit the other day and I read a thing, and it's impossible to tell whether these things are real or not, but it was a mixed couple. It was like a black man, white woman, mixed son, and the kid, like, stood up to a bully and, like, hit the bully back or something along those lines. And when the dad was like, why the fuck would you put yourself in that situation? The kid was like, well, mom told me I should always fight back. And the guy went and talked to his wife and was like, what is wrong with you? Like, I cannot believe that you just put this, like, young black boy in that situation where you are teaching him that it's okay for him to fight back, and it's not. Like, even if you think it should be, it's not. You can't. And then, like, so similar thing when you're as like cis or like straight parent raising a queer kid, you have, like, these expectations for how they should be able to navigate the world and, like, what they should be able to do. And, like, the reality is that their world is limited, as unfortunate as that is. And you have to teach them how to navigate those limitations, how to navigate, people being unaccepting, how to navigate people misgendering, how to navigate being stealth, especially if you have trans kids and that's, like, an option for them, like, there's a whole set of skills that it's like, that's why it's good to have queer elders who are accessible, because, yeah, it's a whole skill set of just how to navigate and survive the situation. Oh, geez. My dad tried to make me do stuff to toughen me up because I was being bullied in school for being feminine or whatever, so it's often reinforced by bigoted parents, too. Yeah, and I mean, like, your dad probably, like, was trying to do what he thought was going to actually help, right? Like, what they want for their kid is, like, yeah, if you're a boy and you're being bullied, then you need to stand up for yourself and fight back. Not realizing that in and of itself is, like, a reinforcement of the trauma that you're already experiencing about not being masculine enough, like, not living up to this standard. White parents getting mad at their black kid for punching someone that called them a slur. The white parents would say, it's just a word. Like, gah. It's honestly the most justified form of violence in this world, I think, is when a black person just punches the hell out of a white person who just called them the N-word. Like, it's the most cosmic justice, I think. Yeah, my parents told me as an intersex person in the 70s and 80s that I had to be either male or female. No malice toward them. They did the best they could, and they thought that they were helping me. Yeah. They knew I was not really a girl. They just wanted to make me fit in along with the rest of the world. Yeah. We can't keep changing ourselves and trying to fit ourselves into smaller and smaller spaces. Like, at some point, the box itself needs to, like, exit the equation. Yeah, I saw that video, Gayfesh. One of my favorite videos of all time is when a racist asshole calls his kid's black friend the N-word, and then his son just knocks him the fuck out. I think it's like a stepdad situation. It's a stepson, and then his stepdad called his friend the N-word, and dude just, like, punched him right in the face. This is a hard subject. I'm so mad at how the intersex athletes are being treated right now. I did have a small good thing happen. I got my once in a blue moon proper gender at the Fast Mart today. It really has so much meaning. So annoying how hard it is to make people understand how much it means. Well, hey, I'm glad to hear that you got correctly gendered at the Fast Mart. And speaking of blue moon, wasn't there an actual blue moon yesterday? Like, I feel like I saw people on Twitter talking about it. Or like, was there a blue moon last night? And blue moon just means like 2 full moons in 1 month. So it's kind of dumb that we even acknowledge blue moons as a thing. Because it's like a month is just the arbitrary amount of time that we've decided to loop things together. Full moons happen as often as they happen, you know? They just happen on schedule. But it was also a supermoon, yes. This was a super blue moon. Won't be another until 2037. Yeah, the moon has been really close the last couple nights. Hello to the most consistent streamer of all. I am one of the only lefty streamers that has a consistent schedule. Everybody else is like, I'll stream when I want to. And I'm like, zug zug. I gotta go to the content mines. Did anyone else's parents refer to black people as colored and not understand why it was a problem? I don't think my parents were quite that bad, but my parents were teenagers when I was born, so... Full moons can happen anytime, true. Did you know that the clock thing from 1 hour shift causes heart attacks? I did know that, Allison. When you have daylight savings, for like the following week afterwards, there's an increase in hospitalizations for cardiovascular events, particularly heart attacks. What's up, Anthony? We had two supermoons different in size by only 1% this month. I wish we could just go to a 13-month lunar year. Makes so much more sense. I'm just used to what we have at this point. I'm not going to advocate that we change the months of the year. I can understand the frustration, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I like that. Here's a trick that I have if you don't know it. So you can go like this, and tap either your knuckles or the in between your knuckles space, and that can help you remember which months have 31 days in them and which don't. So like January has 31 days, February does not, March has 31 days, April does not, May has 31 days, June does not, July does, August does, or you can start over here and say August does, September doesn't, October does, November doesn't, December does. So if you didn't know, that's how you can remember. Speaking of predictors, it turns out that spikes in negative reviews on scented candles are predictors for COVID spikes. So it's not a predictor for COVID spikes. It's showing after there's a COVID spike, right? Or is there like a gradual increase in negative reviews? But that is, yeah. There was a person who wrote a program looking at, like, the negative reviews on Yankee candles specifically, I think it was. Because when people start to lose their sense of smell, they leave bad reviews on the candles instead of just being like, oh, maybe I lost my sense of smell. They actually lead the COVID spike. I put a link in StreamRex. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. Feel free to check out the Discord, everybody. There's a link in the doobly-doo for anybody who wants to see and drop links for me to read. If you want to help influence what's on the show, also hit like really quick, because we're enjoying hanging out. I'm pushing through, even though my throat hurts. I feel like my voice is getting weaker and weaker, and it's okay. I'm just going to rest it tomorrow as much as I can. Has COVID taken my sense of smell? No, it is the candles that are senseless. Scentless, I see. So, as bizarre as it might sound, there may actually be a connection between online candle reviews and the next wave of COVID. There's initial claims about a link between Yankee candle reviews on Amazon and a rise in COVID cases posted on Twitter. later explored on the platform using the Omicron surge in 2021. Oh, it's Drew toothpaste. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is, I was like, why does this say B Sky? I'm like, oh, because that's the username telling you to go to Blue Sky. Sure. The reviews were leading and the COVID cases were lagging. What I found in the original analysis in 2021 was that COVID cases predicted negative reviews, but not really vice versa, which implies possibly that it is actually people complaining because they might have anosmia. When we did it in June 2022, what I found was that it had sort of reversed a bit. The reviews were leading and the COVID cases were lagging, but the reviews really were kind of predictive of the cases going up and down. In this paper, he analyzed nearly 10,000 Amazon reviews and was able to determine that negative reviews weren't linked to specific seasons where COVID cases typically rise and fall, like winter and summer. He also looked at reviews about perfumes and found a similar connection. When I revisited it again a couple days ago, for the first time, the reviews and the COVID cases are really kind of dramatically diverging. The complaints have been going up for the last few weeks, and the case counts continue to go down over the last couple of months. So something is going on that's kind of breaking this relationship. Oh boy, is it the lack of testing? I don't know, guys. Is it maybe the lack of testing? Oh my God. Breaking wind in the elevator to make sure nobody in there has COVID. True. Additionally, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has shifted from daily updates of COVID-19 cases and deaths to weekly reports. Quote, in case you're wondering why I'm resorting to Amazon reviews as a source for near real-time COVID data, Jorge Caballero shares in a tweet. Experts believe people are not reporting positive cases as often as before, especially with the new reliance on at-home testing. What's kind of interesting this time around is that more of the people making these comments are actual medical professionals instead of random people on Twitter. I think the reason they're picking this up as a possibility is because they're sort of treating this as an indicator that we've hit rock bottom. Yeah, no kidding. I still don't recommend that anyone actually use the candle indicator, but I think that there is a serious need among health professionals who do care about this sort of draw upon these more indirect, to do care about this to sort of draw upon these more indirect measures, because that's all we've got at the moment. That's such a bummer, but it's like it's true, you know? Mowing my yard while listening, hearing about the intersex pregnancy made my spirit soar. Good vibes tonight. Good vibes. Can't test positive if you don't test. Yeah. So for any of you who are concerned, like, yeah, I'm bitching about how sore my throat is. My throat was sore enough today that I took my last COVID test. Like, I took my last rat because I was like, I want to make sure, as I'm about to do Renaissance Festival, that I don't have like an illness that I'm going to bring with me. Obviously, you can still get false positives, but it's like, I do just have sore throat that happens every once in a while with the allergies. So I'm willing to accept that, like, yes, Kansas is just fucking awful. I don't get it though, because surely they'd notice that they couldn't smell anything else. It's weird because, like, it's not complete anosmia for a lot of people, right? It's not like your sense of smell goes completely away. It's more like it's lessened, or certain things smell or taste weird. Like when my sister got COVID, one of the times, I don't really know if she has had it more than once, but like one of the times that I was aware that my sister had COVID, she like coffee tasted awful to her and she was really upset by that, and then it got better, right? And one of our moderators just had a cold go through their house, and now that they're mostly over it, they were like, what did Max say? Max said that they couldn't taste, it was like ketchup smelled weird and chemically and perfumey or something like that. And they were like, well, I haven't noticed anything else tasting weird, so if ketchup is the only thing that I can't taste, then that'll be fine, you know? Yeah. We don't need to do a whole COVID segment today, I guess, but like it is, yeah, it's on the uptick. I had complete loss of smell when I had COVID. Sometimes I feel like I am smelling something that I know that I'm definitely not smelling, and that has developed within the last couple years. But man, I want coffee now. I mentioned coffee and now I want some, and I don't need to make coffee at 6:30. What's up, Decoy Duck? Hello. I love coffee. I drink 4 cups per day on average. I basically am at this point drinking like one of these each day of decaf. I don't drink regular strength coffee anymore because of my heart palpitations. It's also worth noting that the flu and common cold still exist too, as well as other diseases, and they spike up under the same conditions too typically. Well, we're noticing, James, like with these hospitalizations or like anyone who's coming in for symptoms, like when they're being tested, we're seeing very little flu. Like, this is not the time of year for flu. We don't have flu. There is no such thing as a summer flu. It's fucking COVID. Or it might be RSV, you know? My sense of smell is being insane again since I quit smoking cigarettes. I've always been able to smell like a pregnant lady and forget how many things bother me as my smell returns. And like allegedly estrogen, or maybe progestin specifically, but I think estrogen both have like an effect on your sense of smell. Like generally, women are considered to have a better sense of smell than men, and I think it's a hormonal difference. Because I do feel like my sense of smell is not as strong when I'm on T. And I also, like, when I went on birth control, hormonal birth control, I was like, oh, that was when I realized that I had a cilantro problem. I could maybe have ignored my cilantro problem, except that I started taking progestin, and I was like, wait, I can taste the cilantro in a way that I didn't used to notice it before. I'm being sent to detox. Oh, yeah. Hopefully you feel better afterwards, though. It's not going to be fun, but hopefully you feel much better afterwards. That'll be good. 54 people in here. Can we get a few more likes? Can we get to 69 likes today? It's just estradiol. My sense of smell is freaking amazing now. I think that both of those things, like, have an impact a bit, you know? Oh my god, dude. I'm autistic with smell sensitivity and on HRT. I guess this is how I become a superhero. You've got smell-o-vision. Be careful with that, though, or you'll be like Kiba versus Naruto when Naruto farts right in his face. Wow, that was like a hyper-specific reference. No, we overshot 69. Rip in pieces. No. Now we just have to get to $69 in donos tonight, and then I'll take off my... I'll take off this jacket thing and flex my muscles. Yeah, cilantro tastes like soap for about 15% of human beings. Since taking estrogen, I have become more sensitive to both smell and sound, mainly in vibration. I cannot be in large acoustic spaces with speakers. It's like a sensory experience, right? It's on all of your skin. Whoa, there's 75 likes all of a sudden. That's amazing. That's so sad. I love cilantro. There are occasions in my life where I'm like talking to someone who's eating cilantro, and I'm like, I demand that you explain to me why that is good. Why is it in your food? What does it taste like? I'm like, someone needs to justify this to me. And yeah, I think at some point someone explained that like it's got like a bright taste, you know, it pairs well with lime. It's got this like zesty flavor kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's what it tastes like to you, I guess I can kind of understand, but still stop ruining food. Like, stop it. My endo did not inform me of the side effects of increased sense of smell. It tastes like summer. Cilantro tastes like summer. I'm just so resentful. It's so gross. I can ignore it a lot of the times if there's other flavors that are masking it. But especially if you get a stem of cilantro, it's just impossible to ignore. And you're like, oh man, that's... man, come on. Like, I'm not like that mad about it, but I'm like, come on, man. Like, dang it. Okay, well, you know what? We should talk about this other turf thing. Basil is my cilantro? What's wrong with basil? I want to try pesto. I've never had pesto before, and I'm thinking about making it. Because, I've just never tried it before. And, like, it's like the third sauce, right? You know, you can have, like, an Alfredo, like, cream-based sauce with maybe some cheesy flavors. Or you can have, like, a red sauce with, like, a tomato base. And pesto is, like, the secret third option, you know? So that's why I want to try it, because I want to zhuzh up my pasta, I guess. Pesto's good. I don't have an emulsion blender. Is, like, one of... Oh, wow. I burped and it really was not a pleasant sensation. But yeah, what's pesto? Pesto is basically like just a metric fuck ton of basil. Let me recipe for pesto. It's a green sauce that's like you get so much pesto and pine nuts and like olive oil and garlic, and it's mostly basil and maybe Parmesan cheese, and it looks like this. It's just like a green... It's supposed to be like a pretty bright flavor, I think. I don't know, though, because I've never had it. Yeah, basil, Parmesan, pine nuts, olive oil. Some variation thereupon. But it's, because you're, like, blending basil, you're literally just blending it. It's like, yeah, you have to have a decent amount of basil, right? Also, like, chimichurri, which is parsley and oil. Parsley has such a strong flavor. Y'all can have the basil and I will take the cilantro. We'll trade, okay? Faith, if you come live on the commune... Oh god, please stop. I swear to fucking Christ, I hate when the camera does this. Yes, when we live on the commune, when I grow... basil, or when you grow basil, I'll trade it for the cilantro. I'm never gonna grow cilantro. I fucking hate that shit. Realistically, I won't have any cilantro to trade. Yes, the tech gremlin has visited again. If we live on a commune, I promise all cilantro will be on the side. Yeah, whoever is running the kitchen, make sure that you just as much as you're taking the allergies seriously, take the cilantro seriously, okay? For some people, it's bad enough that it does ruin the food, even if it's, like, masked by a bunch of other flavors. Like, I can eat guac from Chipotle and not be horribly upset, you know? Because it's, like, blended in with a bunch of other shit. But yeah, for some people, it is an issue. Oh, God. Okay, let's talk about Terfs. This is our main story for tonight, and I have, like, 3 different articles about it. So we will look at those. Look at those. Boink. And another link. And another link. What? Links? Gorgeous. Okay, they're in order. Looking good, looking beautiful, looking gorgeous. I harvested most of my hops earlier on. Now that is a pungent smell. They're so... Like, I don't know that I love hoppy beers, TBH. Keep those pine nuts out of my pesto. Oh yeah, are you gonna die? Are you allergic to the tree nuts? No hazelnut for you. Cilantro haters are the best to grow it, so they're not tempted to get high on their own supply. True. I will grow a bunch of cilantro, and I will sell it, and you all can have it, and please get away from me. Beer is for medieval peasants only. Well, I have good news for you, because I am a peasant in every timeline, and I am an employee at the Renaissance Festival. So I think that I am more than any of you allowed to drink beer. Have any of you ever worked at a Renaissance Festival? I don't think so. If you've attended a Renaissance Festival, that doesn't count. It's not the same. You don't qualify. Anansi is allowed to drink beer, okay? Anansi is allowed. It's so weird seeing Christmas stuff in stores everywhere in August. We literally just got the Halloween decorations up. Get out of here, Christmas. Stop. Like, we gotta hold the line. The goths need to hold the line. You're a jester to us? Yeah, what am I? Am I a jester or a bard? One of those two things. It gets earlier every year with the Christmas stuff. I don't get it. Contrast that, I was like hoping to get some fall decor stuff in like late July because my first fall holiday is on August 1. Lunasa is on August 1, and it's like I couldn't find any of the shit that I wanted. If Christmas didn't want a war, it should have stayed in its own territory. Oh my god, true. They always say, oh, it's a war on Christmas. Like, no. Christmas declared war by trying to consume the entire last fiscal quarter of the year. You're the sentry who talks mad shit about the king to the local tavern people. If I'm a sentry, isn't the implication that I'm in the employ of the king? That would make me a hypocrite. As a witch, I will join the goths in holding the line. Witches, goths, holding the line against fucking Christmas encroachment. Shaking hands. Chad shaking hands. They've moved Christmas to November now. Not if you were conscripted like most guards. Oh, fair enough, Ursa. Fair enough. I only just realized it's still August in most parts of the world. Yeah, it's August still for a couple more hours. Couple more hours. A bard is just like executive jesting associate. Executive jesting associate. I'm the CEO of jesters. What's up? A little bit Alexis. Welcome in. Yes, we have the new graphics. New graphics for the channel. They are spicy and delicious. I'm not sure about all this Christmas business. Why do Christians need like 3 months of Christian pride? They're putting red and green everywhere the whole time, and woke companies just pander to them the whole time. True. The Christian agenda. They're trying to take over our country, frankly. Facebook just recommended gay pagan men as a page I might like. That algorithm heard the convo. Don't let them listen to us. I can't believe you would let the algorithm eavesdrop on us like that. Yeah, where's the 3 months for atheists? We need that. 3 months of drunken debauchery for atheists. Like, make Saturnalia great again. How about that? Girl, I swear to fucking Christ. Okay? No, you're a problem. We're gonna turn it off. Okay? Are you gonna be a problem? You've decided to be a problem. We'll try again. Okay, maybe it will stop being a problem. Yes, make America make America Saturnalia again? Is that what you're saying? Make Saturnalia great again, or make America Saturnalia again. I decide to be a problem every day when I wake up. Well, you can have the fucking camera then, mama. No, you can't. Actually. Oh god, okay. I have the links ready. I just have to get my earbuds ready, I guess, is the next step. Unmake America. I love gays, pagans, and men. I am 2 of 3 of those things. I don't think even on my most gender fluid day that I could ever qualify as a man. I don't think that that's really where I'm at. I actually really like Yule/Christmas, though. I love Yule. I don't like Christmas. The only thing that is gratifying to me about seeing Christmas decorations is when I flipped my thinking about it and went like, oh, isn't it so nice for all these Christians to be getting on board with my traditions of paganism? And that's the only thing that has made it tolerable for me to see Christmas decorations in fucking October. MAIA, make America indigenous again. True, land back. My ex once described their gender as not a man, just a little guy, and then they did the gremlin thing. Yeah. I can't make any funny voices today. I was gonna try, and I can't. I'm not going to. You can't make me. We know that Terfs are ridiculously hypocritical people. And they're not ideologically consistent. They've got their one thing, and it's hating trans people, and they will do anything to maintain that, whether it's, you know, disregarding the existence of intersex people or talking down to other cisgender women who don't agree with them. Like, they just are the worst, as usual. And, like, we now have verbal confirmed evidence that when it comes to this bathroom issue, Terfs are a little bit more flexible than you might think. You know, they constantly are talking about, oh, you know, men should be in men's rooms, women should be in women's rooms, blah, 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 blah. Would it surprise you to know that a group of like a handful of Terfs had a conversation about just like openly using men's restrooms in public places? Have you ever thought about the possibility that this is the case? And that it's truly about, you know, trying to control other people's behavior while they get to do whatever the hell they want? Or like maybe it's like, women's spaces are sacrosanct, but men's spaces, like, we can invade those spaces and make men feel uncomfortable no matter like whatever their feelings are. Because they do describe in this conversation basically that like they will just use men's restrooms and men will be uncomfortable with them being in there. And they're just gonna cavort about doing it, and like they're like, "Oh, I'm not afraid." So they claim to be afraid of trans women in their spaces, or that like, oh, it's an invitation for men to be in their spaces, and that's where the fear is. But no, apparently they don't actually have any fear of men. It's specifically transphobia. It's specifically bigotry against trans people. So let's listen to this little conversation.
I used to go to the man's bathroom because there was never a queue. And, you know, in certain bars, you know, especially in the 90s in clubs, it was like you went to the men's bathroom and, you know, everyone's like, oh, don't go to the men's bathroom. You're going to get attacked and blah, blah. No, you went in there. They were more scared of you than I was of them. You know, that was in the 90s, to be fair. I wouldn't do it now because I respect the man's bathroom.
I think that that's a lie. She said, I did this back in the 90s and I wouldn't do it now because I respect the man's bathroom. I don't think she does, actually. I think she just has to claim that it's something that she wouldn't do today in order to not be hypocritical. But I don't think she succeeds.
We would be in and out before it would even register to them that was a female. Because I remember being at the clubs and going to the men's bathrooms because the queue was so long at women's, and you would yell in there like, "Hey, anybody in here?" And no answer. Okay, but somebody comes in while you're using the bathroom, and they just watch you walk out like, "What did I just see?" And you can tell that they're registering
and they do a little double take and go, "Oh, it's a woman in my bathroom." That's it.
I have never done this because the line was too long. Had gone into the.
Oh, I have.
I've done it plenty. But I think now, because of this sort of situation.
I think no. She said now. No. How many different vowels were in there? I don't know what her accent is. Did someone say Northern Irish? Is she Northern Irish or is she just drunk?
No, I probably wouldn't go into the guys' bathroom anymore. But even like 2 years ago, I went into, because there was like one toilet for the ladies, and then there was like 3 toilets for the boys. And so I went upstairs and went, oh, I'm going to go in there nobody will notice. And I come out of the cubicle, and this guy just looked at me and went, "Ah," and I went, "Sorry, I'm leaving. It's fine." And he went, "Oh, okay. No worries." He just couldn't even.
Oh, and like, let's be real honest.
So she like enters the space and like surprises a guy who is expecting there to not be a woman in the space designated men's, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, it's fine. It's okay." Like, they are describing situations where they are catching men off guard in spaces that they are expecting to be private, away from women, which is the thing that they complain about trans people doing. They're like, "Oh, I expected this space to be free of trans people, and you being in here is so upsetting to me that I'm going to try to legally take away your right to do that." Like, just the depth of the inanity sometimes, it really gets to you, you know?
This is a reflection of a very serious problem that we have in society, that women's bathrooms are never adequate enough for us. Never.
No, well, men are more scared of you in their bathroom. I've never known any man to try and go, "Oh yeah, you're in my bathroom. I'm going to attack you now and rape you." No.
So yeah, she's like, "Oh, I'm not concerned about men trying to attack me in the men's bathroom. What I'm concerned about is men, quote unquote men, using the guise of self-identification of gender to go into women's bathrooms to then victimize me. I'm not concerned about entering a space explicitly for men and being harmed, but I am concerned about the quote invasion of the bathroom." Like, no, it's truly like, it's not any of their concerns. Like, none of them are based in any actual real world ideas about what could potentially happen. You know, it's entirely that they hate trans people and they don't want us to have access to public spaces. They want public spaces where they can expect to just never see trans people. Yeah, it's just, they're just not being genuine about their alleged fear, and like they're wanting to protect women's safety and women's privacy. Like, it's nothing to do with that. They don't care about privacy, or at least maybe they do care about cis women's privacy, but clearly they don't care very much about men's privacy. Yeah, almost like it's entirely fear-mongering and nothing else. So I wanted to also point out, while we're on this topic, speaking of, you know, TERFs and trans women in bathrooms, is we have this this tweet that I saw come up, this account called @FemaleInTheWild with the, it's like it sucks because these colors are genderqueer flag colors, but it's also like women's suffrage in the UK colors, which now the TERFs have co-opted these colors. So yes, my chair is squeaky. Yes. Do you have a recommendation for a chair and also the money to buy one? I would be on board with putting a new chair on my Amazon wish list. I pulled this one out of the dumpster. But yeah, so unfortunately these colors have been like co-opted by TERFs. If you ever see these 3 hearts in a TERFs username, you know, or any username really, but like there's a good chance that it's a TERF. Double check and make sure it's not a genderqueer person. But yeah, so this says, "Today at work, I learned of the death of a colleague. I retreated to the toilets to cry and was joined by another woman as we hugged and mourned and remembered a wonderful person. Imagine if our grief had been interrupted by an entitled man with a sexual fetish. #trans women are con men." And then here's like someone made this comic to make fun of them, saying "somewhere in the women's toilets, I just can't believe she's dead," crying, consoling. And then in this person's thought bubble, there's a trans person just existing in the background of this scene where there's a weird number of people in this bathroom in the first place. That's a weird number of people in the bathroom. But look at it. It's like, oh, I'm so mad. Imagining, I'm like literally involved in a moment with my coworker involving like the death of someone we know. And I'm sitting here thinking about trans people and how terrible it would have been if this moment was interrupted by a trans person taking a piss in the bathroom where we had gone to cry. How about use the bathroom for what it's for? Why are you going into the bathroom to cry and like have an emotional moment, you know? Speaking of like misusing the space, I don't actually believe that you're not allowed to cry in the bathroom. I'm just saying that they're, you know, like the trans person's in the bathroom just to pee and you're in there for some other bullshit. And then the thing that they just said, they were like, "This is an issue where women's bathrooms aren't adequate anywhere. Why are the queues so long?" It's like, because you are doing shit like this. where you're going into the bathroom and you're dicking around and taking forever. So obviously there's not enough space in there. You're sitting on the toilet having a conversation with your friend who's retouching up her makeup in the mirror, and it's like, get the fuck out, you know? Like, get out. What are you doing? Oh, God. So that's not quite the end of the segment, even though I just wanted to kind of laugh at this in the middle of it. Like, imagine being so twisted up with hatred that you can't have like a normal conversation about like just a normal interaction. Somebody that you know dies and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna try to like console my crying coworker, but oh, gosh darn it, those trans people. Good grief. They're afraid of showing vulnerability to men, so they go into the bathroom. I mean, I guess that's fair enough. Joke's on her, the dead coworker was trans. No, come on. That's not the joke on her. I guess it would be joke on her if she was crying over a trans person's death and she didn't realize it, because of course they would hate to acknowledge the humanity of any of us. If I ever have to use the bathroom but can't use the family one in my building, I try to get a coworker to go with me. They always try to talk to me while we're in there, and I finally snapped and let them know how my anxiety feels while we're in there. My head down, trying to be quiet, hurrying, while they're trying to get me to talk to them with my clocky voice. Yeah, that's like an insensitivity of yet not even thinking about what would happen if your voice got clocked. I'm sure if you asked them, they would say they're not afraid of the men in the men's room because they're in the right place and therefore aren't predatory. Sure, I guess like because they do try and kind of genuinely have this thought process that goes along the lines of like trans women are engaging in a fetish by transitioning at all. And then like entering into female spaces is a thing that they're doing in order to gratify this delusional like fetish that they have, as opposed to it being like an earnest attempt to occupy the spaces that are for them. So yeah, because like there are people who genuinely think like trans people shouldn't be allowed to dress the way that we want in public because that is some kind of like exhibitionist fetishism, and that like if you honor a trans person's pronouns, like you are feeding non-consensually into their sexual fetish somehow. And it's like, sure, plenty of the girlies, plenty of the dolls are into forced feminization, but that's like kind of not something that you're doing on the daily when you're just like, you're not wearing makeup, you're at the gas station trying to get cigarettes. Like, you know, it's not sexual fetish time at 11 a.m. when you're getting your coffee and cigarettes. But yeah, so aside from that, there is one more thing I wanted to look at that was posted this week. Katie Montgomery, God bless her, always posting good stuff. This is an article from 1998 arguing that gay people should be banned from changing rooms. So let's read this article from the newspaper in 1998. So, dear editor, I've been playing basketball at the University of Utah a couple times a week during lunch. The past couple of times, I have been taken back by something I saw while delivering my university ID card to receive a towel. It was not mildew on the carpet or tile. It was not wet toilet paper all over the toilet seats. It was not a something, but rather a someone. Dun, dun, dun. You know it's serious. Look at the poetic way that this person has decided to, the drama, you know, the epic scale of this story. Oh, God, dude. Okay. The person who took my card and gave me a towel has been one with alternative thinking. You're right, I'm making assumptions. Let me tell you what those assumptions are and what went through my head. Number 1, a high voice. Usually men have a pretty characteristic low voice. There are a few men, however, who don't have a low voice. That is fine. This guy must be one of those few and far between with a higher tone, I thought. ... But wait, ... I just can't get over this. This is ridiculous. It's exactly the same. Oh my God. Number 2, assumption number 2. Fingernails painted purple. Listen, the fairies, the girls have been doing purple on the fingernails for almost as long as I've been alive. I'm so here for it. Fingernails painted purple. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but the last time I saw a guy paint his fingernails was in the 1st grade for Halloween, and I would venture to say that something is wrong with this picture. If you haven't gotten the context, by the way, this is a man named Abel Thompson, senior accounting at the University of Utah. So it's a man going into the men's changing room. Girl, please. Thank you. Number 3, an earring in the right ear. I don't think I have just fallen off the cantaloupe truck, but as far as I know, the earring in the right ear can be a pretty good indication of sexual preference. Alternative. Sexual preference, alternative. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's fair enough. Is that the thing? Like, for a girl, okay, I'm full screen now. I really need you to not do this, okay? Thanks, great. I've looked up this problem. There's like, as far as I can tell, nothing that I can do. It's like something about the like power connection in the camera. So an earring in the right ear, I think, is a fair indication. That was a thing. It was like, if you were a guy and you got your ear pierced, you had to do just the left one. Even if you got the left and the right. Getting the one on the right was too gay. You weren't allowed to do it. Cantaloupe truck, is that some racist thing? I don't know. I think he's just saying, like, I don't think I've fallen off the cantaloupe truck. Like, meaning, like, I guess cantaloupes are about the size of a human head, so the implication is, like, that he would have fallen and hit his head? I don't know. I view myself as a pretty understanding person. However, when I feel my rights are violated, I like to speak out. So here is my 2 bits worth. Yeah, why is there a gay man here? Isn't this Utah? Yeah, aren't there enough Mormons there? I have a very hard time seeing why someone with an alternative preference lifestyle would be put in a job in the same-sex locker room. There have got to be other jobs around the sports complex that such a person can do where he or she won't enjoy it quite so much. I have heard of doing a job you enjoy, but really, this is too far. Literally, you're doing this for your sexual fetish. Literally just... We've said this before. We've said this numerous times on the stream, and I just want to reiterate it whenever we have a segment that's probably going to make it to the YouTube channel. Like, the same stuff that people say about trans people, how we're groomers, how we're recruiting children into our lifestyle because we want to have innocent sexual bodies to impose our weird kinks on. Like, all of that rhetoric is just recycled anti-gay rhetoric. And it's also literally from the Nazis, so TBH, like, go look up the Wikipedia page, Nazi views on homosexuality. It's verbatim, like, quote, like, verbatim, word for word, the same shit. So here, yeah, you're enjoying it too much. You're enjoying your job in the locker room too much. If I remember right, from my orientation at the U, one of the definitions of sexual harassment is, quote, creating a school or work environment that is intimidating, hostile, or offensive because of unwelcome or unwanted sexually oriented conversations, suggestions, requests, demands, physical contacts, or attentions. So note that does not describe the behavior of being a faggot in the room. Like, it's not like you just are that and like it's a problem in and of itself. You know, it has to be some kind of actual behavior. But this person says, I would argue that just the sight of a homosexual working in the locker room is suggestive to the point of making an offensive environment, although the person above in no way made any advances or anything like that. If we have people of alternative preference in the locker room, we might as well put in members of the opposite sex in there to hand you your towel. Heck, if you have one person enjoying the scenery, you might as well have 2. I was just reading something about, like, the weaponization of fear, you know, and like the juxtaposition of how this person is claiming to be made uncomfortable, like claiming the victim status of, like, this is something being done to me, and then they weaponize that fear in order to perform actions of discrimination or even sometimes perform violent actions against our people, you know, like, by that logic, bisexuals can go in no locker room. Yeah, I mean, because all of these things are about boxing people out of public spaces, traditional spaces. Like, any public space, any bathroom, like, if there are limitations on that, you can't go anywhere that you need to be for longer than an hour or whatever. Like, I already wouldn't be comfortable using locker rooms just in general, but it's like, yeah, if you're a person who is trying to fit the gym into your busy schedule, like you're trying to go to the gym before work and like, oh, well, I can't use the bathroom, like I can't use the showers. Asexuals get to change in both. Yeah, asexuals, you're allowed to be wherever you want to be, apparently. TBH, I remember back in school, there was a girl saying lesbians shouldn't be allowed in the girls' changing room. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's be real, there are tons of gay guys at gyms. Yeah, and this is how you know that, like, it is a question of gender. Like, people get frustrated sometimes with, you know, why is sexual orientation something that involves your gender at all? Like, when I say, like, if someone says, I'm gay, they mean, like, either I'm a man attracted to men or I'm a woman attracted to women. Or, like, if you say you're a lesbian, there's an implication both that you are a woman or femme or aligned somehow with that identity, and you are attracted to women, femmes, somewhere along that line. Like, you know, but it is like, back in the Victorian era, lesbians were considered like a third gender. And to this day, I think gay men and gay women are denied full access to what it is to be their gender, you know? Like, their gender is partially predicated on the sexual orientation. Like, you're less of a man if you fuck other men, and you're especially less of a man if you're a bottom. Back in ancient Greece, that was the distinction, where, like, if you were gay but you were a top, then you were just the same as any other man. But if you were gay and you were a bottom, wow, you did not deserve respect, you know? And, like, yeah, I think of how many women who are in roles that are traditionally masculine, like Hillary Clinton, for example, being, like, a powerful political player. People have made jokes numerous times over the years, like calling her a lesbian, calling her a secret man, like secret trans woman, because, like, as a woman, stepping out of those limitations is something that is, like, punished by having your gender is stripped from you. Flashbacks for me to my undergraduate college days in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was getting death threats, and the dean told me, "What do you expect? Some people are uncomfortable with your lifestyle choice." She told me that 2 days before I got the person outside of campus who was making the threats and beat the shit out of them. She was then upset that I took care of it myself. However, there was nothing she could do about it because it happened off campus at a club outside of regulatory limits. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like the only thing that you can do, I guess. And it was, I guess, easier in the 80s and 90s to sort of get away with kicking the shit out of somebody. Especially as a person who's a member of a minority group. But yeah, we've been dealing with these things since before I was born. And of course, people did that to Michelle Obama. Transvestigation, she's a secret man, etc. So this is, you know, the legacy that Terfs have inherited. And just, again, the callback, like, this goes back to the Nazis. So Nazis believed that gay people and trans people were recruiting. The trans people kind of fell out of the limelight for a while, and then we had a resurgence in the 80s and 90s because of the HIV epidemic, like, going after, like, attacking gay people and especially gay men. And of course, because trans women are just sort of considered to be hyper gay men, they're so gay they had to become women. They are scorned in a similar manner. So if you have one person enjoying the scenery, you might as well have two. I wish Liz Truss was trans. Is Liz Truss, who is that? Is that an MP? Who is that? I'd love to be a bottom back in those days. Not black, though. Yeah, in a past life, Anansi, I hope that sometime in your past lives, you got to be a white bottom in ancient Greece. I hope that you got to enjoy the olive oil as much as those people did back then. Oh, Liz Truss was UK PM for about 5 weeks. Oh, Liz Truss is the one who killed Liz, right? Lizzie's in a box, Lizzie's in a box. Yeah, she killed the queen and wrecked the economy. Ah, fuck, might have COVID. Rip in pieces. It's not good for you. Don't have COVID. Here's an idea. Don't. Jesus Christ. I'm probably gonna wrap up before terribly long. We'll keep going for a few. I'm gonna cook pork chops tonight. I'm gonna find out whether I like pork, y'all. Because I don't really love it. I tried to make like a roast with pork one time, and I fucking hated it. It was not what I wanted. Beef, oh my god, beef tastes good. I love beef. Beef is yummy. Beef is so good. But, so I have to, I'm brining them currently. They're brining in salt water with some bay leaves and some garlic. Still trying to get my hands on a test, but GF just tested positive. RIP. That's tough. It's hard to not get it too dry, I think. Well, I'm hoping that the fact that I've been brining it for like 7 or 8 hours, I hope that that will make a difference in how moist it is. Moist. Beef roast with bouillon cubes and herbs. Beef is delicious. I am not a pork thing. Liz Truss had a thing for pork markets. Interesting. Moist. Moist. Avoid the pig. He's not kosher. I don't have to eat kosher. What is a pork market? Is that a real thing? I thought you were just fucking with me. What's a pork market? Guys, I don't think we're getting to 100 likes today. I think we're gonna get close, but I think we're not gonna quite get there. Can we get to, like, $10 in donations today? That would be cool. I know everybody's rent is due. I gotta pay rent, too. I have some pork, too, and I forgot that you are supposed to brine it. I don't normally buy pork. I frequently forget to brine my meat, but I was like, I needed to get part of the meat brining and part of it, like, back in the freezer, so... Yeah, you're welcome, Slolar. Your rent is due tomorrow. Has someone done an ASMR with the word moist? I mean, it's not, like... Moist. Have you thought about the moisture? I don't actually know if my whispers come through very well. Or if I need to actually vocalize. Whispering. We were replacing a word in different titles with moist on Blue Sky this morning. True. We hear you fine. Okay, good. I didn't know that I could use this microphone for ASMR, but that's good to know. Needs a little lips sound with moist lisp. S. Mufasa. Mufasa. Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. You don't have to brine it, you just have to watch your temp and cooking time. I like soy sauce and garlic powder on my pork chops. Well, so the thing about brining is that it actually puts moisture into it if you're doing a wet brine. Because you got water in there, and then you got the salt. So the salt is just a vehicle for moisture to get in and out of cells. And then you have a bunch of water. So you have a bunch of salt, which is opening up the cells to their ability to either lose or gain moisture. And then more moisture is getting in because of all the water. So hypothetically, it's like absorbing the flavor of the water and the garlic in the water and the whatever in the, you know, like, that's the idea behind doing a wet brine in particular. It results in much more moist chicken. And so I figured it would work the same with the pork. Like, I figured it would make the pork delicious. Is there more news? Not today. I'm done with news today. Just had those 3 things. I'm all about slow cook pork in barbecue sauce and A1, 3 hours per pound with onions and fresh minced garlic. I would consider making like pulled pork in my Instant Pot or something. Did somebody mention Blue Sky? Yeah, does anybody need a invite? I have one invite to Blue Sky right now, if anybody wants it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you a little bit, Alexis, for this $69 dono. They said 6669. Thank you. Very much appreciated. 6669. It's a devil 69? Is that the premise behind that? Excellent. Oh, nope, that deleted things. Oh, I cannot remember how to type. We have to change the goal. We changed it. Yay! Oh, and now I have to take off my hoodie, don't I? Is it Luxander for anyone else or just me? Okay, you gotta, yeah, tell me, is it Luxander? It says excellent connection for me right now. I don't want it to be lagging when I'm about to show off. I had a heart ultrasound appointment this morning. Thankfully, nothing wrong with my heart. Hey! That's always good. I, had to do something similar a little while ago, but yeah, no issues. Just having fun, but should get on that blue sky. Yeah, I mean, I have a blue sky. Yes, Timerinia, you've arrived just in time for the objectification. Ooh. Shade says I have 2 codes we can use for promo of donors. Ooh, I don't know if we really need, like, to... I don't know, I feel weird about essentially, like, selling Blue Sky invites, because I'm like, donations. I love me some objectification when appropriate. Objectification. I haven't been in the gym the last couple weeks, so, you know, like the last week and a half. So I gotta start doing my push-ups again so that I can maintain, at least maintain the definition that I've already received. Is Shade in the Discord? Shade, are you a member of the Discord? Ooh, justification for objectification. This is what we have right now. Anyway, yeah, Shade, are you in the Discord? I don't actually know. Yeah, you can tell that I haven't been at the gym in the past, like, week. Anyway. Thank you. Do you find it easier to gain muscle or to lose it? Like, is it faster losing it than gaining it? I mean, it depends, right? It's like, if you do it the first time, it's, like, hard the first time, right? And then your muscles, like, go away. And then the second time you try to build muscle is, like, easier because your muscles have already done the thing, right? So... I guess it just depends on, like, how long you spend out of the gym, you know? I just need to get on my calisthenics game if I'm gonna be out of the gym for, like, the next month and a half while I'm having 2 jobs and stuff. Ah! Here we go. My hair's getting long, too, so that's always fun. Protein is key with me. I need to have plenty of protein to maintain my muscles. Protein is very good for you. I'm trying to eat more of it. Trying to consume enough protein. Yes. Harder to lose muscle. Some pros take 6 months off after a competition. Because you still have to use your muscles every day, right? So it's like, it's hard for them to completely atrophy in a fairly short amount of time. So, it's weird because I feel like I had more muscles before I started working out. But to be frank, I've been losing weight, too, to get healthier, so maybe it's just lack of protein. Right, yeah, there's a reason why some people try to gain weight while they're building muscle, rather than, like, potentially losing weight while building muscle. Like, frankly, there is no, like, evidence that it's better to do it this way. But for some folks, they just think, like, oh, I'll put on muscle better if I'm not trying to, like, lose weight at the same time, you know? Love long hair and having colored hair rather than stress grays. I am highly abnormal in this. I just, like, actually last night I was looking through my hair up here and I found a white hair that was, like, all the way down past my chin. And I literally, like, came out to go show my partner. I'm like, look at this. Look at these white hairs. Isn't that fucking cool? That's my perspective about my hair turning white, is I'm like, isn't that neat? I don't know how long it's going to take before it's visible on camera, but I look forward to that day. I actually stopped dyeing my hair so that I could show my white hairs. Like, oh, they are starting to show up on stream. Oh, look at that. You can see my white hairs. Oh, that's cool. There's one right there. Okay, that's cool. I'm getting old. I don't hate it, though. I've been looking forward to my hair turning white since I was like 5. So... One of my girlfriends is getting white hairs, and it's so pretty and cute. Also, isn't it easier to dye it when it's white so you wouldn't have to bleach it and damage it? So actually, white hair does not take dye very well. I don't know why. It's like chemically weird. It's like different, and it does not accept dye in the same way. Actually, some of my hair was growing in white when I was still dyeing my hair red, when I was dyeing it this red color. And then eventually when I started noticing the white hairs getting longer and stuff, I can see on the end of those white hairs that they were dyed, but it's also not the same color as the rest of my hair, you know? No! I just got my mohawk at the right width. I like it. And today I found out the ex-leader of the Proud Boys has the same haircut. Oh, no. You just have to become super famous and make the haircut famous for you. And then the Proud Boys will then be copying a trans person. Mm-hmm. I've been gray since 16. I wonder why I started to get so stressed out. Just egg thoughts. Yeah, I like the idea of having, like, all white hair, which is pretty likely given my family history. My grandma has white hair. She dyes it black. My mom started to get white hair. She still dyes hers, like, a reddish color. And I am better than them. I will embrace my aging with grace. It's an achievement to get old. I really do. I, like, have a respect for people who've lived long enough. Like, I mean, obviously it's not an automatic respect, but, you know, life is hard. And the fact that you are still alive means that you lived through tough shit, probably. My hair has just lightened up like 2 or 3 shades over the last few years. I feel like such an outlier because I find things like wrinkles, etc. really endearing, but it seems to be seen as a bad thing for many. I'm not, like, psyched about getting wrinkles, TBH, but it's not like bemoaning it is gonna make it better. I can do what I can now by, like, using lotion and taking care of my skin and avoiding direct sunlight to try to minimize that. But yeah, I mean, I want to live, and I want to live long, which means growing to love and accept the process of aging. White and gray hair has more cuticle layers than other types of hair, which is like the little hair scales that dye sticks to, and those increased layers make it harder for dye to stick and changes the way it can look after. That's also why white and gray hair can be more prone to breaking. Oh, okay, interesting. So they just have really thick layers of, like, keratin, basically, keratin scales. Yeah, I need to give myself a trim. I can feel all kinds of, like, rough edges and, like, split ends. Some people look so much better older as well. I feel like I don't really look a lot different from how I looked when I was, like, 15. I don't know. Like, I guess there is, like, a certain maturity of features, but I don't really feel like I look significantly different. One thing that made me happy during the lockdown was seeing all the movie and news people with gray hair and wrinkles. We need to make aging cool again. Make aging cool again. That's the America I want to live in. Well, y'all, I'm ready to go make those pork chops and rest my voice for a few hours, probably. And then I will not be seeing you on Sunday. I have a part-time job right now, so I will not be seeing you on Sunday for the remaining September and most of October. So I will be planning to see you on Tuesday. So long as nothing crazy happens. I'm going to try my best to maintain that Tuesday, Thursday, despite the fact that I will probably be very tired. So we're going to do what we can. And I hope that you all have a good weekend, a good Labor Day. Don't catch COVID during your holiday plans or whatever. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye. Oh, wait, bugs.